The Lost Connection: Real Relationships in a Virtual World. In a bustling town nestled between mountains and rivers lived a young man named Jacob. Jacob was known for his intelligence, wit, and most notably, his deep connection with the digital world. From a very young age, Jacob was fascinated by technology. As he grew older, his love for the virtual world deepened, and soon his presence on social media became a prominent part of his identity. He spent hours curating the perfect posts, engaging in lively discussions, and making countless virtual friends from across the globe. His phone was his constant companion, buzzing with notifications and messages, each one giving him a sense of belonging and importance. However, in the midst of this digital whirlwind, something subtle yet significant began to change. Jacob, once a lively presence at family dinners and gatherings, now found himself more absorbed in his phone than in the people around him. He often missed the twinkle in his grandmother's eyes when she told stories of the past, or the excitement in his younger sister's voice when she shared her latest adventure at school. His parents, who once cherished their deep conversations with him, now found it increasingly difficult to engage him in anything beyond a brief nod or a distracted, "uh-huh." But Jacob was oblivious to these changes as his digital world grew more vibrant, filled with the instant gratification that likes, comments, and shares provided. Time passed, and Jacob's virtual friendships flourished. He had friends from different countries, shared memes, played online games, and even found a sense of community in online groups. Yet there was a growing void within him, one he couldn't quite explain. Despite his vast network, he often felt lonely and disconnected. The more he immersed himself in the virtual world, the more this emptiness grew. But he dismissed it, telling himself that it was just a phase and the constant interaction online was enough to keep him fulfilled. He convinced himself that these digital connections were just as meaningful, if not more so, than the real-world relationships he had slowly started to neglect. One day, Jacob's family planned a weekend retreat to the countryside, a place where the internet connection was weak and the air was filled with the scent of pine trees and blooming flowers. Jacob was reluctant to go, worried about missing out on the latest trends and updates from his online world. But his parents insisted, urging him to take a break and reconnect with nature and his family. With a heavy heart, Jacob agreed, packing his things begrudgingly and setting off with his family. As they arrived at the rustic cabin, Jacob's anxiety grew with every bar of signal he lost on his phone. However, without the distractions of the digital world, something unexpected began to happen. As the days passed, Jacob found himself engaging more with his surroundings and his family. He joined in on hikes, listened to his grandmother's stories, laughed with his sister, and shared deep conversations with his parents around the campfire. Slowly, he realized how much he had missed out on while being consumed by his virtual life. On the last night of their retreat, as they all sat under a starry sky, Jacob had an epiphany. He realized that while his virtual connections had their place, they could never replace the warmth, depth, and fulfillment of real human relationships. The instant gratification and validation from his online presence were fleeting, but the moments he shared with his family were lasting and profound. He understood that he had lost touch with what truly mattered, the people who loved him unconditionally, and the experiences that enriched his life in ways no number of likes or followers ever could. Jacob made a vow to himself that night, under the vast expanse of twinkling stars, to reclaim his real-life connections and cherish them above all else. Returning home, Jacob approached his digital life with a newfound perspective. He didn't abandon it completely, as he recognized the value in staying connected with friends far and wide, but he no longer allowed it to consume him. He set boundaries for his online activities, ensuring that they didn't encroach on the time he spent with his family and friends. He rekindled old friendships, engaged in meaningful face-to-face conversations, and became more present in the moments that truly mattered. Jacob learned that while the virtual world offered convenience and connection, it could never replace the richness and depth of real relationships. He discovered that true fulfillment comes not from the quantity of connections, but from the quality of relationships, those built on trust, love, and shared experiences. And so Jacob lived on, balancing his digital life with his real one, never again losing sight of the importance of the people and moments that made life truly worth living.